Hi, Internet viewers. Frank Rauscher again. We finished texturing both sides of the head this much, so I just hope you got that far. Now, what I want to do is refine the beak before we go into the breast area and do the mantle area. So let's see how far we get. I'm going to show you how to reduce the size of the beak and put a little more shape to it, realistic shape. And we'll get this just the way it should be, and then we'll continue as we go, okay? And for those who may be interested in wanting to try maybe a sandpiper or any of the other birds that I had done, or even the otters and stuff like that, I have kits available. You can get if you have your own wood, you can get my patterns and then cut them out and make your own. Or you can get a kit where it has the feet, the eyes, the pattern, and the blank, so that you can follow along with us as we go. So however you'd like to do it, we do have it. I have other equipment. I sell power equipment and bits and eyes and feet separately and everything else. So if there's something you may need, definitely give me a holler. And you can contact me through my email address, which is Rauscher, RAUSCHER, Frank, FRANK, 7 @gmail.com. And if you have any questions on my catalog that I send out, so like about a 5 or 6 page catalog, and you can contact me that way. My phone number is there, or my email. And you can ask questions, not only with what I have, but how we do certain things and stuff like that. Glad to help you out, to keep you moving, so that we all can enjoy the power carving, okay? So just wanted to ask you also, if you do enjoy the video, I would ask you to give me a thumbs up and also subscribe to my channel. I'd appreciate that. That helps in my count. So we will proceed on with the sandpiper and see if we can't get some more done on it and maybe get this thing flying, okay? So bear with me. Okay, we're back. Now, what I wanted to mention to you here was on the pattern, we have 5 millimeters. I use millimeters sometimes, and sometimes I use inches or fractions of an inch. In the case of this bird that I did here, I used millimeters, and this is 5 millimeters out, is the width from the center out for the beak. And in some cases, they're probably a little bit wider. So here's what I'm going to ask you to do, if you would, is on the underneath side of your beak, and I'm going to ask you to get the center line coming down. I don't know if you can see this well or not. To get that center line down. Then I'm going to ask you to measure over 5 millimeters. Now that's the other side of the ruler. This has inches on one side and millimeters on the other side. So I'm coming out 5 millimeters, and I'm putting a dot, and 5 millimeters on the other side and putting a dot. Now that I have the center line, I'm going to make a parallel line similar in the same run as the center line where the 5 millimeters is, and I'm going to draw a straight line up and a straight line up. Now what I want you to do is to bring that straight line right on up onto the beak here, okay? So that it's all in the same, like you're slicing it, okay? You could see it coming all the way up into here. And I hope you can see that well. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. I'm getting that line, and I'm staying in the same plane, and I'm bringing that up. Now, what you have is this area here, which is the underneath side of the beak, and we have that C in here, and then we had that slope that came up and around. And here's our line of action here. So everything within this area right here, I'm shading it. I want to push back so that when I get done, the distance right here is going to be on that line. And I'm going to do this on both sides. So to do that, I would like to go probably with a bullet or a ruby flame or something like that, something that's pointed. So I'm going for a diamond pointed item or something like that. So all this area right in here that I shadowed, you can see where the line came up through here and stopped right there. I don't want to go on to what we burned, and this split in the beak here. I'm not worried about that. I just want to take the material straight down to that line. So I'm going to come in, and I'm doing this gradually. I'm not attacking this like there's no tomorrow. I'm going to come around. And now, if I'm starting to lose that line and you need it, I'm going to put it back in again. Okay. And I'm coming around, and I'm trying to maintain that line. And at the same time, I'm pushing down in there. So one of the things I should have had you do, and I'll come back and do it now, is the length of the beak that we have, which is this split that we already established when we got the beak going. I'm going to come in and burn this, just this line, so we don't lose it, okay? Because you're starting to grind away on the shape of that, with that line, and it'll disappear. So what I'm going to do is come in and burn that portion right there, okay? And I'll go back in because we're gonna go down a little bit more. And here's what I'm going to do now. We have this shape. We have this C coming around here where the back end of the beak is, and then it comes this way. But remember, our line's still going through there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to get this whole thing flattened out a little bit here. Right now, if I put my point, I'm still a ways out. So let me push a little bit more. I'm going to go a little deeper this time. Oop, hold on. Turn my burner on. Okay, here we go. Now I'm taking all that material out back here. Hope you can see this well. And I took it back. Quite a bit. Okay, we're getting closer now. Now, let me come in. I'm going to start refining this a little bit now, because I like to do this gradually rather than push it all the way. We have that C in the back, remember? That's this area right in here. We came around and made a C. So on the back end of his beak, it's a backward C. And then the line came out and came up like this. So not to lose the shape, I'm going to blend the rest of this. Remember we sort of had an angle from the burn to the center line of the sloping. So I'm going to try to get that back in again. Now here we go. I'm going to slope this again, following, there's my line of action here for the beak. I want to keep that. So from the center line to the burn, and you want to do this gradually now, because you still have to maintain that shape. I blend that out. Okay, and I'm coming back in here to get that slope. So here's the shape of the beak on the bottom. It comes out and comes all the way back to here, because the feathers do come up all the way back to this area. And then we got to do the other side. So I'm going to slope that a little bit more down below here. And this isn't a lot. I'm being very careful that I don't get this thing so thin that you get in trouble, you know? So here we go. We got this. And we got this coming up and around to the center. So now I'm going to clean this up. I'm going to push this material back so it rolls down into here. I'm going to undercut here and get this edge that I created and roll that slightly. So here we go. I'll start here because this has the least amount that has to be done. I'm coming in here and gently rolling that around. Okay. That'll be our new edge on the bottom. And we come all the way back to the C, the underneath side of the C here. And I round that over. Then up in here, and I don't want to go into the burn. I gotta come in and take some of this down, right in this area right here. Comes around. Now let me put a pencil line in there so we don't lose what we're trying to do. We have that C come all the way back. Then this is our line of action coming up and around. and we slope this beak from here up to here. So this has an angle to it. And this is your center line. And you stop at that center line, okay? Now, I'm just gonna sort of massage what's happening back here. Just blend it back into the body. Okay. Gently. This bit tends to want to dig in sometimes, so, and that's even on the flame, ruby flame or the diamond flame, so. There we go. Okay, now, I think we pushed it back enough for the moment. Now, what also happens here, let me make sure, yep, what's coming right off of this C right here, I'm going to heavy this up so you can see it, is this has a line of action like this that comes down. Okay, it's sort of like a flat S. It comes out this way and then goes this way. All right, we're going to have one on the other side too. But right now, we're working on this side. So I'm going to get my same bit. I'm going to come in and I'm going to lay it right on the line. Cut it in. I'm not going deep. In fact, it gets shallow at the end here. So, again, let me come in, put the pencil line back in that valley. Now, we have an edge on both sides, so I'm going to soften that around that pencil, like letting it roll into that point. So I'm going to come in like this. Get the point down to the pencil line and then roll it. Ever so slightly. You're hardly doing anything to it. Just soften it. Okay? Alright. That takes care of that side for the moment. Now, let's do the other side. Here's our line of action. 5 millimeters over, it's coming straight up. Okay, here's our C back here, comes around to here, it goes like this. Now, before I get started on this, I'm going to burn that in, which is what I should have done on the other side the first time, but we did it afterwards and we didn't lose it, thank God. So, let me get my point, get going here. And I'm just burning this back in, just so we don't lose it and get a little more depth. Okay. Now, here we go. Let me show you what I'm doing here. I'm gonna shadow this. All of this right in here. And up here, I'm taking out. Okay, I'm taking down, I should say. So here we go. I'm coming in here, undercutting around the C, straight down. You gotta do this carefully. And then I'm planing this out. Get some more depth in there. It brings this point down. Now, let me come back hoping you can see this well. I'm going to come around and see. Then we have this line of action coming around here up to here. Okay, that completes what we did on the other side. Now, I'm going to slope it from here to the center line. So, I'm using the middle of the bit to get that flattened. Then I'll take a little bit more on the C locally. Just undercutting it just a little bit more. Then blending that back so that this whole slope that we have from here to the center line goes straight back in. Okay? Let's see how we look here. Yeah, we're pretty close. We're pretty close. Okay. Let me come up here a little bit more. All right. Now, I'm going to mark this out with the pencil so that you can see it, hopefully. And you have this coming up right here. Okay. Now, we have this flat S that comes out of here and down like this. It's like what I call a flat S. Okay? And it's going to be about the same length. So you're going to get your bit and you're following that line. Now, notice I have my finger on here, or my pinky, making sure that gliding right on that line and not walking all over the place. And I'm not going real deep with it. I'm probably going about a 30-second. In depth. Okay. Now, just so you can see it, here it is here. It's here, up here, and there's where the C started, right there, and then this goes this way. So what I'm going to do is smooth this out now. I'm going to come around here and roll that out. Like so. I'm taking much material. I'm even going to roll right on up along the beak here. And I'm going to do the other side. I'm coming here, and it's a light touch to get that out of there. Going down to the pencil line, and then I'm rolling it out slowly. And I'm not trying to take a lot out because there ain't a lot to take out. Let's see how we look back here. I think I have to define this a little bit better. Right in here. Right in here. Let's see if I got that right. Check myself out. Yep. Okay. Now, I'm going to take this down. This is between the burn and that area we just, that flat S that was in there. We're getting pretty close now. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come along this edge and just round this over. I'm going to get this edge and round it over too. I'm losing my C over here on that straight edge. So this came back this way, and then went out this way. All right, now I'm going to flatten from here to here. Get that slope from the burn to the center line. This is still too high up here, so I'm going to fold this back. And you got to do this slowly and controlled. Okay? Don't be aggressive here at all. Can't be. You're in that much material. So we got the C. We come out. And we come over and around to the other side. Now, what we also want to do is the exact shape. If you look up here, there's a little more of a slight arc on the bottom of the bill. So from where we have this right here, I'm going to come up a little bit and I'm going to just about phase it out before the tip. I don't know if you can see it. I'm up maybe a 32nd up from right here on center and come up, and then it tapers out to the end. So what I ended up doing was pulling this material in. So it has a little more of an arc. So to do that, I do this. I get my bit, the middle of it, and I come down the center, and I take it down very carefully and check right down the middle of my center line to get that profile. It's taking more out in the back and almost nothing out in the front. Okay, we're almost there, and I'm trying to get that straight across. Okay, maybe a little bit more. Okay, now I'm going to, right where this rolled around here, I'm going to round that off. It's just a light touch to get to it. Now, I want to get that center line put back in so that you know where we're at. Okay, I got the center line in. Now, I still need to go from here up to here to get that slope back in. Because every time we do a little massaging, we have to get that angle back in there. So I'm still sloping it from the burn down to the center line. Okay. And then I'll do the same thing on the other side. Okay. Now, Here's what I'm going to ask you to do. We have the split in the beak. And what I'm going to ask you to do, jumped off of that one. Get that back in there. I'm going to burn them in, okay? Not deep, but just enough. And it starts back here. And I'm tracking right through the same area. And as you get to the end, you lift up, okay? I'm going to do the same thing here on this side. Hope you can see it. I'm not out of the picture here. As I get to the end, I pull up. Now, what I want to do here, the beak tends to roll in from the bottom and in from the top. So what we're going to do is put a 45-degree chamfer in here. We're not going to touch the outside as much as we are. We're coming inside and we're doing this. So I'm coming in and I'm going to put a 45-degree chamfer. Let me do something here. Let me change this bit. I think the tip has been worn on this one. So I'll go with, let's see my other one here. I just had, here we go. This is another bullet. It looks like it has more material to it. I'm going to come in, get the tip right in there. And I'm putting a chamfer. If you could see, there's like a little white edge that gets created. See it on the bottom here, right about there. Now, once I get that, then I start rolling it out. Not a lot, just gently round it out so that the edge sort of disappears, but it looks like it's rolling in. Okay, and be real careful at the end. The end part here of the beak. Okay, got that. Now we're going to come this way, and we're doing the same thing. 45-degree angle. You can see there's like some white area there, and that edge is what we want to roll up. Okay, we're just rounding it so it looks like it rounds inward. Okay. Now, let's do it on this side. Get that 45-degree chamfer in there, and then we roll it out. And we don't want to go into the burn if we could possibly help it. Okay. Then I'm going to come this way. The same thing. And notice I have a bigger lip wall over here, so I'm going to just bring that in just a little bit more. Yeah, that's closer. Get closer. Because you want it to look the same on both sides. Okay. So we got the roll in from the top and the bottom. Okay. And let me just come back and put all the pencil lines back in. Here's the C here. There's your straight line effect. Here's your other one here for the underneath side of the feathers. And you have your I don't know what this is called, but it's sort of like a crease that comes out of here. And I'm gonna smooth just a little bit right in here because it's still puffy. So I don't want to go into the burn. I'm just going to soften that right in there. So it looks like it's rolling down in. A little fat. Okay, that's pretty close. And then what I'm doing is just minor little touches to make the one side look like the other side. Okay. They can get distorted a little bit. So this is where, remember, everything's symmetrical about the center line. So I'm trying to make everything look pretty good. Okay, now, before we detail more on the on the beak, I want to sand this a little bit. And I got a 120 grit sandpaper. I don't need it as thick as I do. This is Swiss-made paper. It's cloth bound. If you ever need any, I sell them like in a roll, about 3 feet. They're very inexpensive. So I'm going to sand this out. The center line, I'm going to sand out very, very softly to get it to roll. Okay, on both sides. Then I'm going to round a bit this way and this way, just with a few strokes. I hate to put the grinding tools on there because they tend to want to take more off than I want. So I find that the sandpaper does the job. So I'm smoothing this all out. I'm going to do the bottom as well. I'm going to come in here. I'm going to try to get all the bumps out that I may not have gotten out before. I'll come in from the bottom and roll up a little bit. Because it's a pointy beak, but it's sort of rounded over slightly. You can see how the profile is. It's sort of rounded there, even though it's coming down, and it is somewhat pointy. So I'm trying to get this nice and smooth throughout. Get rid of the bottom center edge, where we made like a diamond shape where it got angled from the center line back to the burn. We want to roll that now. Okay, but we're not taking a lot off. You can see I was very gentle when I did that. Now we have it nicely smoothed out, everything else. But that's the only part of it now. Now what we need to do, I'm going to put the center line back in, believe it or not, but it's going to be, it's just right on top of the beak right here, like this. And I need to define that area because here's what I'm going to ask you to do. I'm going to come down about a 30-second on one side of that line, take it out to here. It's not all the way out to the end. You're probably about an 1/8 of an inch from the end. And then I'm going to ask you to come and draw a line up from the burn line, about a 32nd of an inch, and let it join so that there is this area right in here. I'm going to heavy this up so you can see this a little bit better. So you have one here, you have one right here. okay? And we're going to do the same thing on the other side. We're about a 32nd down, and we come down to about 1/8 of an inch to the end, and then we bring this back a 32nd up from the beak split, okay, like so. Now, we're going to do the same thing on the underneath side. We're going to come up right through the center, about a 32nd down. Stop. Then a 32nd from the center line this way. And do the same thing again here. Like this. And like this. Let me heavy this up, because that you don't want to go past this point. Okay. Now, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get the bullet, and the 32nd up and the 32nd down, this area right in here, I'm going to shadow it a little bit so you can see it, hopefully. I'm going to lay my bit in there and make a little bit of a hollow, very little. Okay, so don't be aggressive. I'm laying this on its side, and I got my finger guiding me here, okay? Walking that down. You don't want to go deep. You want to come up to the burn. Okay? It's just a slight indent. It's more deeper towards this side than this side. And I'll do the same thing on the other side. I'm going to come in between. Do it gently. Try to steady yourself. I mean, steady yourself. Okay. So you have like a little concave area in there, in between those two pencil lines in the tape. Then we'll do the same thing on the underneath side. Let me do something here. I see something that I needed to smooth out that I didn't get before. I'm gonna right here. Gotta really just test your patience. Not deep, see? I don't know if you can see it that well, but it's not deep at all. Here's another one here. It's not that deep. Let me clean that up a little bit. And if some of you have a ball, let me just show you another way of doing it. Let's see. I probably have a ball around here. Here's like a, I don't know, maybe it's like a 2mm ball. Let me show you that too. This may be helpful. We're going to try to give you different ways of doing it. You get a 2mm diamond ball. This one's sort of like a burnisher. Most of the grits off, but if you needed to get in there, the ball was perfect for putting that in there like that. Okay. So you could finish up with the ball. I was just thinking of that. And then down on the bottom here. Okay. And that should finish it. And the ball sort of gives you a perfect setup, but you got to make sure you stop here, you know, 1/8 of an inch from the end, and you have that concave area right in here. Okay. Now, what we want to do, this has a nostril too, which is right in here at the back end. So it comes out about here and it goes back. And it's actually a little longer than that. It's about a little bit more than 1/8 of an inch from the burnout. And it's right in that channel that we created. So let me just make sure these are the same length. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to find a bit that I have. I have a bit like this. Let me show you. It's a diamond bit. It's real thin. It's tapered a lot. So this is ideal for that. So what I'm going to do is take the ball out, get this, and I'm going to lay just enough to be within that little triangle that I made there. I don't want to come all the way down to here. I want it to just, I'm cutting in. I'm going to undercut. So I'm laying that point down flat. Then I'm going to push in. So watch me here. I'm laying it down, but not past the, then I'm pushing in and back. That gives you a perfect nostril. Okay, and I'll do it again. I'm pushing in, but just enough to stay within the parameter of that pencil line setup I have here. And then push right in the middle, and then push in and pull out. And there is your nostril in that same groove, okay? So that gets you pretty much set up. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to soften very lightly with the sandpaper. Everything I did, I'm just going to sand it lightly, just in case there's any edges left over. Now, the beak itself is like a bony look, okay? And to achieve that, we super glue it, believe it or not. And what I use is a super glue that you can get from a dollar store, because you don't want real good stuff. It's a very liquidy one. It's got a red top to it, okay? And you usually get 2 for $1 and stuff like that. So I want to make sure I got all the sandpaper dust out of there. Just clean this up a little bit more. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you the super glue I use. This here is a gel. This is green. If you have a gap that you're trying to fill in, this is heavier. So this is great. Now the tendency with a lot of the super glue is that you use it once and that may be the last you use of it, you know, because this tends to set up sometimes. Sometimes it'll last you forever, and then sometimes it just sets up. So for $1, you can't go too far wrong. If you go to spend something that it's like a size of like this or something like that, you can spend a lot more money and it still sets up after a while. This is the one I want you to use. It's the red top. You unscrew it It has a dispenser here. Now, let me see if I can get a piece of scrap paper here. Bear with me 1 second. Show you what I'm going to do here. I'm going to get a piece of paper just to make sure that it's coming out. And I'm squeezing this see it came out real fast. I'm going to ask you not to squeeze this hard. I'm going to ask you to come in just enough that you hardly even have to touch it, and you could use the applicator for squirting a little bit more out. If you get too much, you aim it downward, okay? But if you do it right, you can just get so much out, and you'll see it when it comes out. It literally impregnates the wood. And this is how we get a bony look. And if you ever had to stiffen up wood sometime, and you can paint over this, so you don't have to worry about that, but you don't want to get this all over the place, because this, you want to make sure that it doesn't run. If it gets back into your burning, never, when you're burning onto super glue, it has real bad, vapors. And you don't want to breathe it neither, because it's got cyanide in it, if I got it right. And if you hold it out, you can burn it from a distance, as long as it's not near your eyes, or you're not breathing it in. But always be careful with it. But it's great stuff. I mean, for gluing and everything else. And you can see I'm being really easy with this. Now, what I'm going to do is, I think I have enough on there. I don't need to get such a point of it being shiny. Just enough to soak in. And I'm going to leave this until the next video. We have that done. I'm going to close this up. And then what we're going to do on the next video, you can see this, what it's done. It stains the wood, which is fine. But what it does, it impregnates the pores of the wood, and then we'll go and sand this when we come back on the next video, and we'll get this nice and smooth, and it'll act like just like the beak itself. It'll look just like the beak. On the next video, we are going to do more on the breast, finalize that. We'll do some lifting of feathers down here. We'll do the stylized type feathering down here, but I'll show you how to do all that. They get a little more larger as we come down, and the same way in the breast, but we will actually lift a lot of these in the breast area. So for this video, we wanted to just do the final detail of the beak, and we got that going. Now, what we'll do is we'll keep marching down in both the back and the front. Let's see how we get on the next video. But I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you got something out of it. And if you did, I'd ask you to give me a thumbs up again. And if you could subscribe to my channel. And if you have a friend or somebody that may be interested in doing this, and if you can pass my information on, that would be really helpful in growing my channel. So I appreciate that greatly, and I'll see you on the next video. So you guys take care, and ladies too, I should say, and we'll get you off and running. So thanks a lot, and we'll see you on the next video.